Yo guys, and welcome to the very first ZBrush video, which includes commentary. For this video and this project here, I've been playing with a very experimental idea, and in this resulting in a crystallized Willosaur model. The whole crystal theme is something that I've been kind of thinking about in my head for a couple of weeks now, and I finally wanted to try it out. This Willosaur actually being the second of my two experiments. The first one, which while I haven't made a video for it, was far more experimental, took a little bit longer, was overall quite a bit more rougher. Just like with the Willosaur, as you can currently see, I started off with the whole Z-spheres approach, that way I can get like a nice simple base of the body. Due to the idea of the whole crystallized models and sculptures are going to be very simple in terms of detail. In fact, it's going to be basically no detail at all. Which would mean that the Z-spheres would be like a very nice, simple and efficient way of making the base body, since, like I said, I don't have to go into very much detail. And in the case of the Willosaur, it's very handy because there has quite a bit of curves, particularly around the tail and the Z-spheres. By adding progressively more and more joints over time and tweaking them all, can have like a really nice gentle curve, as opposed to manually sculpting it in ZBrush. It can normally appear quite lumpy or quite angular. Now that the base sculpt is done, we're diving straight into generally just increasing the mass, since, like I said, there isn't very much detail, but there is still some basic form that we want to be going with here, and certain features which will show up in the crystal later on can include like the hips being a little bit more pronounced, maybe the pelvic area is larger, the chest can be a little bit more abrupt or a little bit, again more pronounced, just all features here and there being a little bit more enhanced, as well as, of course, the claws, the horns. So as for this whole crystal idea, like I said, it's kind of been wandering in my head for a while now. I thought it'd be really nice just to have like a bit of a more simplistic style, since when it comes to my ZBrush models, I really and thoroughly enjoy the whole, really high poly, really super detailed approach. I love that stuff so much. But it'd be nice to have something that's more equivalent to a doodle every now and then, like when you pick up a pencil or a pen and just, have like a quick little 5-minute doodle. I would like to have some models that I can call doodles in that regards, and these crystal sculptures have been like quite a nice, to say doodle sounds a little bit condescending towards them, which is not intended, but it's just been like a very nice, quick and relaxing idea, especially because since they end up being quite low detail, I don't have to worry about certain features quite as much. It's just all about the proportions, all about the anatomy, very simple and proportional anatomy at that, and overall just really relaxed. It also means I can take some rather lazy creative opportunities, such as you may have seen here with the claws, where I use the chiseled creature feature from the full version of ZBrush 2019. I don't normally do that. I would normally go ahead and actually make those features manually and properly. In this case, it allowed me to be a little bit lazy, which is quite interesting really. It might even use that technique in the future, just a little bit more refined, but it's quite cool here. Using the snake hook tool as well, again, a bit of a nice, quick and dirty method of getting the horns in place. Once again though, just did a really good job. And once I was happy with the overall base, that was basically it. I ended up going into the whole decimation part of it. So like I said, I've had two ideas, or two approaches to this experiment, and the first one was when it came to actually making the crystallized form itself. What I'd done is I'd made the entire body and I chipped away at it using the flatten tool, which worked. It did work, but it did make things a bit inconsistent, in that in some areas there were really large flat planes, in some other areas there were lots of very small concise ones, and it wasn't very consistent. It also, I guess, ended up being a bit too neat in a way, since a crystal sculpture, crystal is like a very hard, dense material, of course. You're not going to have lots of, small petite areas. There's going to be like quite large chunks chopped off. At least that's my understanding or my approach to it anyway. And so with the original first experiment, it was very smooth, very, I guess, almost too detailed in a way. Whereas my second attempt here, the Willosaur, by using the decimation tool in the Z plugins, one, it saved me so much time. I almost feel like I'm cheating. I saved an incredible amount of time doing that. But also two, it then allowed me to have like a more consistent material or more consistent pattern throughout the entirety of the model. And it speaks for itself here. If you check out the model like on screen, it just overall the scales look better. Scales, I guess is not really the right way to say it, but the whole surface area. Now, as to the coloration, I'm still kind of working on, I'm still experimenting. I'm not sure how to get like a nice, proper, legit crystal texture in ZBrush yet. I'm still learning after all. I might be better off doing that in Substance Painter when I get around to it. But until then, what I've been going for here, because again, I don't know how to get a transparent texture, although like the really nice, shiny, glossy, iridescent hues, I'm very like limited with flat colours. Therefore, I'm kind of going for a bit of a frosted type of appearance. In my initial first one, this was like very nice and simple, because my first one was of a Draki creature, which is like a quadrupedal purple snake-like creature with bits of white, and the white parts, so it was easy to make those appear frosted. Whereas this Willosaur here, it gets a little bit trickier, it starts to look a little bit more like ceramic. And so I initially made it all green. I made all the coloration just like you would see on an actual Willosaur creature. Which, by the way, for those of you who do not know, the Willosaur is one of the staple creations from Spore by Will Wright, and you know, one of my favourite creations personally, so I like making a bit of fan art of it every now and then. It seemed like a really nice, simple, yet original experiment to go with for this entire, you know, crystal model experiment. Like I was saying, the coloration went with like a variety of greens, a bit of orange around the horns, around the feet, and the back, just like the actual creature itself. And in the end, it just became a part of, you know, refining and just putting over more and more textures. Now, I did say earlier that these are meant to be more like a doodle type of thing, that these are meant to be like nice, quick and easy, just fun little sculptures. And even though it does require a lot of texturing, fortunately, I really like texturing. It's my favourite part of modelling is applying the textures. So I had a lot of fun here just going over and over and over, just trying to get like more and more impurities more than anything else. One thing I've really come to value and appreciate recently when it comes to my models is adding impurities, which is a bit of a funny thing, especially when it comes to a crystal sculpture. You'd expect a crystal sculpture to be very smooth and very polished. I honestly found it better when I added impurities in, just like bits of, you know, darker flecks here and there, and later on a couple of cracks here and there, which again, I just felt like gave it a little bit more life, if you will. Just felt a little bit more, like it felt more polished than the previous polished appearance. Kind of hard to describe, really. But like I said though, I had a ton of fun, and it is, at the end of the day, just a big learning experiment, and I'm having a ton of fun with it, especially when it comes to playing the lighting, playing the shininess of materials, and trying to just have like that really nice shiny kind of model creature. So guys, here's the first example to show on YouTube, and I really hope you guys look forward to seeing many, many more.